Euphoria is one of the best shows on TV right now.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
So I had a chance to watch Euphoria season 1, and let me tell you, y'all, this show is the tea. It is. We have a character named Jules who is a trans woman, and honestly, I really was not looking from the things I was seeing. I was not interested in watching it because I felt like we was watching another story of queerness with interracial, with the same old interracial relationships we always see with a black person and a white person, or an Asian person with a white person, or a Latinx person with a white person. You see how that goes. It's always the same. The white person stays there and then I thought it was going to be more of that. But looking at it, I will say Euphoria is one of the best shows I have seen in a long time. Some people are calling it trauma porn, triggering porn, like all that. I personally don't think that it's trauma. I feel like they do a great job of telling the stories. There has not been no mention of Jules being a trans woman. It's been in the actions and stuff. We've seen her as a person, humanizing her, and I love it. Also, we're talking about drugs and like what it means to be on drugs. And I love the conversation that our character Rue had with this guy. He told her, he said, drugs are like a good thing. Did you have a good feeling when you were taking those drugs? And almost to say like too much of any good thing is bad. And I feel like that is important because I don't have any like reservations on I don't have any like bad things to say about drugs. I just think anything can be considered a drug because it's something that makes you feel good in that moment. We're saying that is having so much of a good thing, like when does it become like bad? And you can see that Jules is becoming the new drug for Rue. Rue is in love with Jules and she doesn't realize, she doesn't understand it. But we don't know what like Rue likes sexually. Like we've not seen her date anyone for that matter, but we've seen how she's reacted and how she's, yearning for this relationship, some type of relationship with Jules. And you saw that with her trying to kiss her and that she had to deal with the rejection of like, I love this person, I have care for them, but is it something that's going to be more intimate, or is it just going to be this like surface stuff for us being friends and stuff and cuddling? Because I thought that was interesting. We saw different forms of intimacy. Like they lay in the bed and cuddled each other and they were friends. They didn't do anything sexual. Like I love that. Y'all are doing a great job. Also with with Kat, who is the fat person on the show, and we saw her like growing into her character. The only thing I did not like about Kat is how they kind of show how she became fat, like the whole pina colada thing. I think that could have been done a little bit better because it's almost saying like she was loving a good thing, another drug, and then she got fat. And Euphoria, all is about drugs. Everybody seems to be addicted to something. Woo! Even selling chili. I didn't like that because like fat people, like we don't need to show fat people eating and becoming fat. Like everybody eats and some folks eat and don't become fat. So I wasn't necessarily feeling that, but I did love how Kat came into herself and loving herself and finding people who did like her and accept her for who she was. And one of the last episodes we just saw, episode 4, I think that was episode 4, where you had Kat was like getting to know one of her classmates and she had an attraction to him and they were kicking it. But she saw him talking to this other, girl, and she was slim bodied or whatever. And Kat immediately was triggered. She was just like, I'm going through the same thing. He wants to hang out. He wants to spend time with me, but he's not seeing me other than a friend. And now it looks like he's over here flirting with this girl. And I love how it was told because Kat saw it as, the same old. She was kind of self-sabotaging and it really was not her fault. And it spoke to how I deal with some things. Like I can't tell you how many people have loved my energy, love being around me, love everything about me, but do not want to date me. Like I feel every other box, check every other box for them, but they cannot date me. They're not willing to date me because of my body, because I am fat. And I love how that was portrayed. I love Kat as a character. I love how we talk about sex. Let's talk about that. Sex. Loved Rue played by Zendaya when they did the penis thing. I love that. I thought that was interesting. I also loved very much the conversation about porn, because we got to this scene where what's her name was having sex. I can't think of her name. She was having sex with this guy, and he didn't like, they didn't talk, and he just automatically just started putting his hands around her and started being rough. And she said that she like stopped. She told him to stop, and then it shook me up because I'm looking at him like, girl, this is too much. I don't like it. But Zendaya came as her character Rue and said, I know y'all have a problem with this. Sis brought up the receipts of the porn that we watch, like all the porn that we watch, and not to be honest, I've always talked about how this rape porn that we be watching, like, damn, like, sis, like, what's the tea? Like, girl, this shit don't look safe. Like, I've always wondered what is going on. Is this something might be a tad bit problematic with how we consume this type of porn? And like, is this some underlying stuff that we haven't talked about yet, with some stuff we haven't recognized yet, something we'll probably talk about 10, 15 years from now? But what is our obsession with seeing someone being dominated and almost raped? Like, what is that? Why are we so turned on by that? And why does it have to be so aggressive like that? And sometimes I don't even like to engage in too many sexual conversations because it's always the same stuff. Oh, I want to have an orgy. I want to be a train ran on me. I want to be choked and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, girl, like, what is our fascination with continuously saying that all the time and wanting to tell folks and want people to know that they like to be like, quote unquote, treated like they're sexually? Like, what is that? Are we looking for some type of validation from other people to say, yeah, girl, I fit in? It honestly feels like all of us are still in the big high school. Honestly, we all trying to fit in and make other people happy, and we ain't truly happy with our own selves. But that's a whole nother conversation. You see where I'm going? But I love that, and because it made me look at myself. And I feel like, just, Zendaya, you are playing this role, girl. I know I'm all over the place, but Zendaya, you are playing this role. We saw last night where Jules, ran up on the DL man. It was a white man, and how she was like, girl, like, I know this man. I had sex with him, and come to find out that's what's his name's son. So she walked up to him, asked him for some chili, and he shook. Now he in distress, like he was shook. And Jules was like, she did not want to do that, but she did it. And then the way that he looked at Rue, he was like, girl, you know too. And he felt like everything that he had, all the stuff he had worked, all the stuff he prided himself on, the things that he was telling his son, like, you need to achieve this. He was just telling some other guy, one of his friends, like, you need to make sure that you are, like, this is life. Like, this is what it is. Avoid me, all of these things. But all these things are not making him happy, which is why he's out here, looking for other stuff to do something for him. And he's probably always had an attraction to femme folks, and different type of femme folks, like femme boys and trans women and all that. I don't know if Jules is a trans woman or she's androgynous or cis. I don't know what cis is giving. And it's like interesting seeing that. Like, it's just because we've not talked about it. But we see that this man who, quote unquote, has everything that is deemed good and acceptable, a loving family, or quote unquote loving family, and a nice house and nice income and money, and like he has his own type of celebrity in the area. He was a football player. But none of these things are making him happy. And it just makes me think about how much pressure we put on folks to have these things, and these things might not make everybody happy. So you have to search for your own happiness. And I feel like that's what the DL father was doing. But it's not accepting. And he walked up to Jules, he was just like, sis, if you sit up here and say something or make it known that I had some relationship with you, I'm going to lose everything. So please don't do that to me. And the only thing I'm like, okay, girl, I don't have no problem with him like being attracted to whatever, but sis is underage, she like 17 and you like 40, 50 something years old. Like, sis, we need to talk about this. So it's not about you having attraction to trans folks. You are attracted to young minors who are trans, and girl, we need to talk about that. So we also see Jules meet up with Trey in a park in the middle of the night. Made me think about how I was when I was 15, 16 years old. The first time I had sex, I was with a 29-year-old man at the age of 15. I think I was in like middle school or something. And how dangerous that was. Like, I just met up with somebody I met online, and how, like, I'm thinking at that age I am invincible, I can do whatever, and that I don't need to tell my parents any of that. and sis could have got snatched up, and I felt so scared for Jules in that moment. They had the music. I honestly thought that Shy Guy was about to push her in that water. But I was like, girl, the water ain't deep enough, so they ain't gonna do nothing. But is he gonna, like, what is he going to do to her? Because so often we see stories of trans folks being killed for simply existing. Jules didn't do anything to him. She didn't do anything. All she did was exist. And that was a problem for other folks because this man desired her. And his son knew that that shit was not gonna be viewed right. So what did it, like, what's gonna happen? Like, I have to get rid of this. Like, I have to get rid of this. So we see the guy who confronted Jules about Jules having some type of relation with his father. Like, girl, your father is approaching Jules. Like, Jules ain't after him. Like, he was messaging her. But I thought that he had an attraction to Jules. But come to find out, it wasn't him having it. I think y'all did a good job. It wasn't. He was trying to get rid of this trans person because sis knew she was gonna cause some situations publicly, and he didn't want that to happen. I love how they did break down how he treats women. He saw his father being attracted to trans folks, so he then started internalizing his hatred for these things in women. He didn't like girls being too masculine. He didn't like girls sitting like quote unquote boys. He didn't like girls having hair, and he wanted to protect his girlfriend and all that. Like, he wanted to always protect and do whatever. And sometimes the protection ain't necessarily protection, because you see what he did with the guy that he walked in his apartment. So I love how Euphoria is taking situations and real life situations for that matter and explaining that shit, breaking that shit down. Like, sis, you see this, but let's show you what's in the inside of this. So I think Euphoria is not just talking about Rue dealing with her addiction issues, but also everybody else being addicted to something. And I feel like that is just a tea. Like, I am enjoying this season. I hope they get renewed. I can't think of all of the characters as of right now, but just like the main characters, you have your cat, you have Rue, Jules, and also I can't even think about the football player, the black football player who is cool with Shy Guy or whatever. Like, all these folks have these different stories that I feel like kind of made me think about my childhood and so many other folks' childhood of just trying to simply exist and like date and do whatever and just find ourselves, and how often society does not allow us to truly be ourselves. So I felt like we were just introduced to one type of addiction, and that was coming from Rue. We see everybody else dealing with some type of addiction, like some type of situation. Girl, it's just a tea. I feel like Euphoria is one of those shows like that deserves a watch for the first time. They're doing a good job of talking about sex. They're doing a good job of just making people human, especially trans folks who we oftentimes do not see as human when we looking at film and TV and stuff. They don't do a good job of always showing them. They always show them being a fetish or a type of situation or murder, and I just feel like I need more stories than just that. And also we have a trans person playing a trans character. We have a trans person playing a trans character. It's like so important. I love Euphoria. I think it is just the show. Like, y'all need to watch out. Like, HBO is really delivering sickening quality content over there. Like, it is just the tea, girl. Shout out to HBO for telling these good stories or whatever. I cannot wait to see what other content they have coming out later on this year. But let me know what y'all thought about Euphoria. Have you seen the first episode? If you have not, let me know. It is the tea. I love it. I'll try to do reviews later on and do more than just explaining, but I just kind of want to do an episode review from episode 1 to episode 4. I will try to do more reviews in the future. Let me know what y'all think. If you're watching the show, let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you later on tonight. Bye.